a lot of people learn about this and then they immediately imagine like I'm in a dungeon drinking my son's blood and I'm like harvesting his organs. And the reality was it was a whimsical, fun, heartwarming thing that our family was discussing. And so we did it.
I saw the image on your Instagram when I was waiting for you in there. I was going through your Instagram and looking at all the captions on your posts and stuff and there was that photo of you, your son, who looks very much like you, by the way, and your father, beautiful photo of you, all of you wearing vests. And this was one of the sort of experiments you did. Mm-hmm. You had a hypothesis. The hypothesis was... What was the hypothesis?
Yeah, we as a team, we have scoured every scientific study ever done on longevity and lifespan. And we've ranked, prioritized all of them. And we filtered out like which one, animal models, human models, and we tried to decide which things to do and why. And plasma exchanges surfaced as a potential option. And people were doing it for cognitive decline. And so it came up where I was talking to my dad and he said, hey, Bryan, I want you to know something, that when you begin experiencing cognitive decline, which I have, you don't know. He said, I always thought that if I'm starting to lose my mind, I'm gonna pick it up and be like, oh, I'm not as sharp as I used to be. But you don't know, it's invisible to you, which makes sense. And so he said, I've been on Blueprint for a couple months, it's come back, so I'm aware of how fast I was losing my mental acuity. I'm back. So in that conversation, I said, Dad, I've been looking at these plasma exchanges, and there's some interesting studies going on right now with cognitive decline, Alzheimer's and things like that are showing interesting results. Now, the science is still emergent. We're not sure it's going to work. But if you were interested in doing this, I'd be more than happy to donate my plasma to you. That's how it happened. And so then I tell my...
Plasma is...
Oh, yeah. So we have blood in our body and plasma. So you take the blood out. We're half blood, half plasma. Mm-hmm. So you take blood out, you spin it up. It separates into yellow stuff, which is plasma, and the red stuff, which is blood. And so they're just different things in the plasma. So it's basically taking plasma from the body. And so I gave my father a liter of my plasma, but I was talking about this to my son. I was like, hey, I may give up a liter of plasma to my dad. And so my son is like, cool, can I be involved? It's like, all right. So it's like this really organic thing around my father.
And there was some sort of efficacy shown in mice or something, wasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, the evidence is like not bad. It's not terribly persuasive. It's emergent. So it's not like we were going in there and thinking that we had a slam dunk. It was like, it's interesting. It's safe. So let's give it a shot.
And it didn't really work. So
on me.
On you.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, so I'm chronologically 45. Many of my phenotypic markers are in their 20s.
Right, of course.
So my donor was 19. And so it makes sense, the age differential, given I'm so tuned, it would make sense that you wouldn't see a big change. But for my father, maybe. Because there's a much bigger difference between his health status and my status and a different age range too.
Was there a difference in your father, or did you not measure?
We're still waiting for the results.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, his subjective reporting was that he felt phenomenal, but we really want to see the data. And you also need to probably do more of these, right? One is not enough. You probably need to do it successively. So it ended up being, even though we approached it as my father's cognitive decline and we were looking at it through a medical perspective, it ended up being a family bonding experience. Where my father left the church when I was young. He was ostracized. I left the church. I was ostracized by my children and their family. So in my estimation, we are divided by the mind, united by biology. This goes back to Blueprint, which is, are there control systems that help us cooperate? Not the mind. Now our mind, we want to create tribes, we want to fight with each other, and we want to find good and evil and all that sort of thing. Biology biology maybe is a different control system. And so we were just trying to optimize health. And so you go back to that system, what are the control systems running humanity, running our families, running you and me, running society? I thought it was beautiful because it was an experience my father and son and I never would have imagined we'd have in our entire lives. And it ended up being a spectacular experience for the family that we really appreciated.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about something I've just written in the book that I've been writing. One of the pages is when I discovered my father's cigarettes. And it was this like earth-shattering moment in my life because I was suddenly haunted by this feeling that my father was going to die.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, cigarettes are bad.
Yeah.
Everyone tells you that. And then when you find out your father is smoking them, when I was like 14 years old, it was this kind of crisis in me that my father's going to die. And I was thinking about what your father went through and how that might have introduced the concept of death to you at a young age. Then I was also observing how much he means to you and every word you say about him and your protectiveness over him. And I was wondering if there's some kind of link there.
How did you reconcile with it?
Trying to get him to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
At all costs.
What'd you do?
I think I cried about it a few times, but I think I just made him feel bad about it as much as I possibly could.
Right.
It's like a,
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe that's like the best tool you can use when you're 14.
What about you?
I'd write him letters.
Really?
Yeah. Every week. I'd write him a letter, tell him how much he means to me. I'm thinking about him. Yeah.
In the hope
that it would give him the power he needed to overcome his addiction.
Did you think about him dying at that age? Had the concept of death crossed your mind?
I just wanted a dad. Yeah, I wanted him to be a part of my life.
Are you misunderstood? Because the perception of you that I had before I met you is different to the perception I have of you now. Specifically, the perception I have of why you're doing what you're doing. Because when I heard the tale of this Bryan Johnson guy, he's trying to be 18 years old. He's a narcissist. He was struggling with the concept of death. He's got so much money now. He's fighting life. So, he's doing this for himself. He probably wants to date someone young, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. It's all sort of self-centered. The proposition you've given me today is very much more about humanity than it is Bryan Johnson. It seems like the picture painted of you, and I know how the press works, right?
Yeah.
It's the things that gets the clicks, right? Versus the person that sits in front of me today feel like two completely different people.
I'm not understood. I would almost prefer to be misunderstood because that assumes some level of understanding. And it's not even a close approximation. Like you're saying, it's so far off from what I'm really trying to achieve.
Your father, 75 years old. He's not going to live forever, or is he? How do you contend with that? A man you clearly love a lot, but you understand that there's an inevitability to life for most people who aren't revolting against life in the way that you are with your longevity routines and your anti-aging protocols.
Yeah, it's impossibly hard for me to reconcile. One time I couldn't get a hold of him for a couple of days, and which is uncommon, and I spiraled in concluding that he had died. And, not being able to call him and hear his voice was beyond devastating. And death is a terrible thing. We've all experienced it, and it would be wonderful if we could bring an end to it.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.